Hi everyone, it's Miss Humphreys here. Today I'm going to show you how to create the first part of your winter landscape. And this is inspired by an artist named Jen Arani, and she uses cold colors for her landscape. So to begin our landscape, your landscape needs three parts. You need your background, which is normally at the top, your middle ground, which is in the middle of it can be a drawing, a painting, or a photograph, but we're gonna do a drawing. And the last part is the foreground. The foreground is everything that's in the front of the landscape. So to begin our winter landscapes, I'm gonna turn it this way. My paper, I'm gonna turn it vertical, up and down. I'm going to start with the horizon line, which is the ground, and it does not need to be perfectly straight, because if you look outside, the ground is not perfectly flat. So I'm gonna begin with my horizon line, and then I'm going to add some zigzag lines for my mountains. Now, instead of having one piece for my mountains, I am going to move some of these mountains in front of the others. So this is called the trough, that's the bottom of the mountain, and the tops are called the peak. The line that I drew across to create the mountains it's called a ridge line. So to move some of these mountains in front of others, I'm going to draw some lines at the trough and then connect them all the way down to the bottom. So now I have this big mountain that's in front of all of these other ones. And if I draw a line here, now this mountain is behind this one and this one. I can do this. I'm gonna change this line here. And that's the great thing about working with pencil. You can always change your mind. I'm gonna put this mountain behind this one and this one. And then I'll draw a line over here and put that mountain way back there. So now I have my mountains, I have my ground. Now on my mountains, because mountains are made of rocks, so I want to create some shadows and some texture. So I'm going to start at the peak and make some of these weird shapes coming down the mountain. And then I can I'm just going to use lines. And now I have a shadow right there on that side of my mountain. To create some texture on my mountains, I'm gonna make some weird little shapes and fill that in with a shadow also. I'm just gonna use lines for my shadow because the artist, Jen Arani, her art, this is the way she creates shadows on her mountains also. So it's a different way of making shadows. Instead of filling it in with your pencil, it's just a different way to create a shadow. Do a little one over here for this mountain, this little guy that's really far away. And then this big giant dude, he's way in the front. So when I'm filling in my shadows, adding some of the details on the mountain, it doesn't really need to be the cleanest drawing. It doesn't need to be perfect. After I'm done with my pencil, I'm going to switch and use a black Sharpie marker and go on top of my pencil lines, so that I have some really, really dark lines on my drawing. Now don't try not to erase too much, of course you can erase. If you make a mistake and you decide that you need to fix it, that is totally fine. But try not to focus on making it super perfect. I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look like you created it. You are the artist for this project. All right, so I have my mountains. Now down here, I'm going to add some trees, maybe a little cabin or something. And because this is my horizon line, if I put a tree back here, it's gonna be super, super tiny because I wanna give the illusion that it's super, super far away. If I decide to put a really big tree here, that gives me the illusion or the impression that it's closer to me. So I'm going to fill the space with some different sized trees. And then I'm going to switch to fast mode, and I'm going to trace this with a black permanent marker. So I'm going to switch to fast mode and I will be right back. So now I used my permanent marker to trace on top of my pencil lines. Now if it's not exactly perfect, if you have some pencil lines peeking out from some of your Sharpie lines, that's perfectly fine, okay? This is the first part of this lesson. I want to spell her, I'm gonna use a regular, let's use a blue marker. So if you want to Google her, that is how you spell her name. If you want to Google her and look at her artwork, don't lose this work. The next time for part 2, I'm gonna show you what we're doing in the sky. All right, make sure that after you're done with part 1, make sure that you take a photo of your work and submit to the assignment. I cannot wait to see everybody's drawings. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.